Vision with Insight, ShinMaywa.
ShinMaywa inherited a passion for engineering from its founders. From generation to generation, the spirit of manufacturing has been passed down as we pursue our mission of fulfilling the hopes and dreams of society. Providing an extensive range of products, from aircraft and industrial machinery to special purpose trucks, ShinMaywa is a unique enterprise of unparalleled scope. The roots of this impressive versatility date all the way back to the company's founding. At the beginning of the 19th century, Japan started to adopt Western culture. The first department stores opened, and Japan's first bus conductress made her debut. Albert Einstein won the Nobel Prize for Physics. World War I had ended, and Japan had started to industrialize. It was against this background that ShinMaywa's history began. In 1918, Nippon Aircraft Manufacturing Company was established as Japan's first aircraft manufacturer by Seibei Kawanishi and others. Although the company was dissolved soon after, in 1920, Kawanishi founded Kawanishi Machinery Company and appointed his son Nyozo as its head. Later, an aircraft department was established, which eventually became Kawanishi Aircraft Company, the forerunner to ShinMaywa. Nyozo's passion for aircraft, combined with the intellectual prowess of engineers like head designer Shizuo Kikuhara, sparked the advent of a number of aircraft that have become legendary in aviation history. Our first aircraft, the Kawanishi Type 1, boasted an original design. The roots of our aircraft expertise can be traced back to the spark of technology that gave birth to this airplane. Charles Lindbergh's flight across the Atlantic Ocean inspired ShinMaywa to stake its future on making Japan an aviation giant similar to America. Although it did not achieve all of its original flight goals, Japan's first ever long-distance aircraft spawned technology that was universally praised by industry experts. During the Second World War, Kawanishi produced a number of aircraft that are still recognized as highlights in the history of aviation engineering. During this period, through our aircraft manufacturing, we fostered development expertise, technology, and theoretical concepts, as well as an unwavering spirit, all of which were manifested in the production of the STOL search and rescue amphibian. During the Second World War, Kawanishi's major plants were completely destroyed. After the war, there was a total ban on aircraft manufacturing in Japan. This was extremely difficult for Kawanishi to accept. But despite its disappointment, the company had a solid foundation for the future and was hopeful that someday it would be able to make aircraft again. From the war's end through Japan's period of rapid growth, ShinMaywa manufactured motorcycles, dump trucks, and industrial machinery to meet market demand, establishing the foundations for its key businesses. Because Kawanishi had previously only made aircraft, it took some time for the company to find its bearings. At this time, Japan faced a dire shortage of food and other necessities. To meet these needs and survive as a company, we started to manufacture daily commodities. After getting the go-ahead to change our line of business, we started manufacturing household appliances such as bread ovens. Capitalizing on our technology to produce other products enabled us to survive. In the meantime, we created a product that made use of our aircraft manufacturing technology. We invented a bicycle mounted with a 56cc Pointer engine. It made Kawanishi a pioneer in Japan's motorcycle industry. Out of Japan's post-war chaos, we opened a new chapter in our company's history by establishing ShinMaywa Industrial Company Limited in 1949. Led by President Ryozo Kawanishi's inspiring mottos, we started full-scale reconstruction, focusing on harmony. Pointer motorcycle production gained momentum. Thanks to its high-performance, high-quality engine, along with effective advertising, the Pointer captured an impressive domestic market share of 50 to 60%. As the Pointer's fame spread, its name became synonymous with motorcycles. At around this time, the Konan plant, which was formerly a major aircraft production facility, was being used to repair and service surplus U.S. Army trucks. As truck repair work began to decrease, we turned our attention to the inventory of parts for these trucks. We decided to use these parts to assemble dump trucks. We soon completed our first model. It inspired us to explore this as a business. With the idea of exploiting our aircraft hydraulics technology, we decided to manufacture dump trucks using cylinders that had been removed from surplus Army trucks. We suddenly realized that we could make a living with dump trucks. Our engineers conducted exhaustive experiments to develop special pumps. They performed so well and lasted so long that it was said Kawanishi's gear pumps never break down, even if the truck body does. We launched a range of service vehicles worldwide, establishing an unshakable position in the special purpose truck industry. In 1950, with the outbreak of the Korean War, we received orders for fuel tanks from the U.S. Far East Air Force Procurement Department. This gave us a glimmer of hope that our aircraft business could be revived. Despite being unaccustomed to that type of work and the tight delivery schedules, we were able to deliver products that met strict U.S. quality standards, dramatically increasing trust in our products. We succeeded in winning major orders for fuel tanks, and our operations as a company began to get back on track. We then made the decision to start overhauling helicopter bodies and engines. This once again lit a fire in the souls of our engineers. Emotions ran high as we realized that we were getting closer to our dream of making complete aircraft. In Osaka, we established a plant specializing in aircraft overhaul. The extensive operations there included repair of commercial aircraft and repair and modification of Japan Defense Agency aircraft. Eventually came the day that we'd been waiting for. A large transport aircraft came into the plant for overhaul. 10 years after the end of the war, we were getting closer to our dream of working on entire aircraft. Hoping to someday make aircraft again, we continued to accumulate technologies and know-how. Meanwhile, our development of Pointer pumps paved the way for new uses for Pointer engines. Our first product launch in this area, the self-priming pump, grew to become the market leader. Also around this time, we developed an automatic wire stripping machine. demand grew sharply as televisions and automobiles became widely available. As our scope of business expanded from aircraft manufacturing to the development of social infrastructure, ShinMaywa established new key businesses during Japan's period of rapid economic growth. In 1960, the company's name was changed to ShinMaywa Industry Company Limited. We later joined the Hitachi Group to reinforce our business foundation and to eventually make a full-scale re-entry into the aircraft business. Newly appointed President Toshio Ito initiated a dramatic reform of our corporate culture by proposing principles based on 4 key words: clean, sincere, steady, and enterprising. President Ito encouraged employees to work together to improve the company's overall capabilities and to foster an uncompromising business spirit. To this end, he implemented a series of aggressive measures, including establishing new plants, upgrading and expanding equipment, and increasing the number of sales offices. He also decided to divest unprofitable businesses. The Pointer motorcycle was a company mainstay for nearly 20 years. But despite its popularity, we had no choice but to stop production since it was not generating a profit because of an inefficient sales and payment structure, which required reorganization. However, our president promised to continue manufacturing service parts so that loyal Pointer customers could continue to use their motorcycles. True to his words, management is courage. President Ito decided to divest unprofitable businesses while exploring new opportunities for future development. The ShinMaywa parking tower was developed to meet the need to eliminate on-street parking and accommodate as many cars as possible within a limited space. As aircraft got larger, we saw the potential of increased demand for aircraft passenger boarding bridges. In 1968, through a technical alliance with an American partner, we launched our first product on the market. Soon after, we received an order from Tokyo International Airport. In the late 1960s, the manufacturing-centered Japanese economy enjoyed remarkable growth as a series of huge projects were undertaken toward the start of the 1970 World Exposition in Japan. ShinMaywa took advantage of this boom and started to expand plant facilities in response to soaring demand. But 3 years after the exposition came the first global oil crisis, and Japan entered its worst post-war recession. ShinMaywa had no choice but to take steps to minimize the decline in business. The company started seeking a new direction. Up to that point, ShinMaywa's customers had been mainly in Japan. But with the domestic economy suffering from recession, the company began looking to expand into overseas markets. Around that time, we started full-scale export of special-purpose trucks and aircraft passenger boarding bridges. In 1952, the first product we exported was dump trucks to Argentina. In 1964, we started full-scale direct export of fully assembled special-purpose trucks, as well as necessary parts for local assembly. In the 1970s, we increased direct exports by entering technical alliances for local production and by signing dealer agreements in a number of countries. Because our products would be used in environments different from Japan, we responded to customer needs for high performance and durability under the local conditions where our products would be used. These efforts gained us greater recognition around the world. Another milestone in our export history came in 1973, when we shipped aircraft passenger boarding bridges to Manila International Airport in the Philippines. We also grew our business in Africa and Southeast Asia, performing installation work alongside local staff despite language barriers. These painstaking efforts led us to receive a large order of 34 units from Changi Airport in Singapore in 1978. Through hard work, we had succeeded in taking our business global. But we were still in search of a promising new line of business tailored for the Japanese market that would allow us to lessen our dependence on dump trucks, a business susceptible to fluctuations in the economy. In 1973, we developed the first version of the Town Pack, a crushing and compacting type refuse collector for large-size refuse, with enough power to crush a washing machine. This type of refuse collector had already proven safe and effective in other countries. So we launched it in Japan, where only compactor types had previously been available. However, the machine occasionally broke down because customers used it for food waste, for which it was not designed. It reached a point where people started calling for it to be taken off the market. Management was able to silence these calls by promising to fix the problem at any cost. We listened to what customers were saying about it and carried out exhaustive proof-of-concept experiments. Our efforts were reflected in the dramatic improvements we achieved. The results were so positive that the name ShinMaywa became synonymous with crushing and compacting type refuse collectors. In order to lessen our dependence on trucks, we started moving away from our traditional business of putting parts on a chassis by establishing an environmental systems business. In the 1970s, two technologies were introduced from overseas: a detachable container system for trucks for easier container transport, and a refuse compactor for compressing waste. We equipped the refuse compactor with the hydraulic technology used on special purpose trucks and developed a unique system tailored to the characteristics of waste disposal in Japan. In 1979, we completed the refuse transfer station system, the first of its kind in Japan. Together with growing environmental awareness, this hygienic, safe, and efficient system spread nationwide. Back in 1953, the year after the ban on aircraft manufacturing was lifted, ShinMaywa had set a target of developing the world's first flying boat that could land on or take off from rough seas. We reached this target in 1959 with the completion of the fundamental design for the flying boat. The Japanese-made PS-1 flying boat was based on this design. However, it was an anti-submarine aircraft, and when a new, more advanced submarine detection system was developed, production of the PS-1 was discontinued. We then proposed a specification change so that manufacture of the flying boat could continue. We took up the challenge of equipping the flying boat with landing gear that would allow it to land or take off from the ground. These efforts led to the completion in 1974 of Japan's first amphibious flying boat, the US-1 Stoll Search and Rescue Amphibian, which could land and take off from either land or sea. In this age of rapid change, the US-1's development marked the success of our mission to display our technological prowess. Meanwhile, moving away from growth and expansion, society became efficiency-oriented. While major manufacturers were engaged in fierce competition, we set our sights on becoming the department store of parking equipment, carrying out research and development, and expanding our range of products. We also found ourselves occupied with equipment problems, so we decided to create a system integrating manufacturing, sales, and service. Establishing our own customer service system reflected our commitment to restore consumer confidence in ShinMaywa. We also concentrated on products in high demand and developed more modifications to expand our lineup of existing products. This allowed us to expand business operations in parallel with Japan's economic growth. Along the way, we withdrew from some markets despite establishing a strong market position after starting from scratch. One of these was the welding robot business. We earned a solid reputation for meeting customer needs for both performance and quality, and were also known for improving overall system workflow to achieve more efficient production. However, a specialist manufacturer in the field eventually captured the top market share, and we decided to withdraw from the welding robot business. Although we no longer make welding robots, the technologies we accumulated are being used in our automatic wire processors and in various production processes. During an eventful period, our business had flourished, then reached a turning point at the end of the 1980s. Our core businesses and management system had arrived at a crossroads. ShinMaywa had long conducted accounting and performance calculations separately for each business group. But realizing that a sense of unity was needed to achieve further growth, we formulated and refined our corporate philosophy. We also combined the company's two labor unions into one, committing ourselves to creating a strong corporate culture that would make us a single unified company in both name and practice. In this way, we succeeded in strengthening unity within the company. In 1989, as the Berlin Wall fell and the world was undergoing a huge wave of change, the Japanese economy entered an economic bubble of asset speculation. Amidst heavy activity in real estate and construction, we responded to sharp increases in market demand for parking equipment and for special purpose trucks used mainly for construction. This helped ShinMaywa achieve its long-sought goal of 100 billion yen in sales on a non-consolidated basis. A few years later, however, Japan's economic bubble collapsed. Business worsened and profits fell. In response, each division of ShinMaywa committed itself to downsizing and restructuring. With a major drop in demand for parking equipment, we embarked on large-scale restructuring that included plant shutdowns and system downsizing. This series of misfortunes culminated with the Great Hanshin-Awaji earthquake of January 1995. Most affected were the Konan plant, where flying boats were produced, and our Takarazuka plant. Employees worked together to restore normal operations and to keep delays in product deliveries to a minimum. In 1996, the year after the earthquake, some good news finally arrived. ShinMaywa was appointed as the prime contractor for the Advanced Flying Boat Development Program. A quarter of a century after developing the US-1 amphibian, our long-held dream was about to become a reality. However, most of the engineers in the previous development program had retired, so we had no relatively young and experienced core personnel. This meant we had to get our development program up to speed while passing engineering expertise to a new generation. To generate enthusiasm about the development program, We came up with a motto: let's make this development program a success as a symbol of our rebirth from the earthquake disaster. We treated this program as if we were developing an entirely new aircraft and enlisted the aid of other Japanese airframe manufacturers in this large-scale 8-year project. In 2004, we delivered the first prototype of the US-2 STAL search and rescue amphibian. Performing superbly in takeoffs and landings, this aircraft reduced the burden on rescue workers and pilots while offering dramatically improved safety and flight distance. In May 2004, the year the US-2 was completed, ShinMaywa became independent from the Hitachi Group as part of Hitachi's reorganization. We were now committed to succeeding on our own. Taking advantage of the special opportunity presented by our 60th anniversary in November 2009, we decided to make a brand new start by establishing our group philosophy in January 2010. The ShinMaywa Group, valuing the spirit of harmony and the importance of discovering the essence of things, continues to contribute to the improvement of societies through our responsiveness, creativity, and love of a challenge. We respond to the trust and fulfill the expectations of our customers, shareholders, and society by using our ability to see the changes of the times with certainty. We create a rich living environment and social infrastructure by pursuing advanced levels of technology and quality in our unique manufacturing technology and services. And we challenge ourselves to provide happiness and realize dreams by encouraging the fullest growth and development of each individual. This is the vision we aspire to. Technology must serve people. Technology is a challenge. We are determined to continually expand our corporate presence around the world and to achieve the manufacturing capabilities necessary for each new era.